All right, that's me. I'm a little late because uh, I unwisely stopped at the grocery store on after dropping Walker off from school. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. So, uh, of course, I get here at 8:59, and poor John is on, but I couldn't hear him, and I don't think that's me. It might be me. You could tell me if it's me if you are in the comments. If you can hear me, I don't know. My oh, here he is. Here's John. John Price trying to get in again. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, we're on. Sorry, man. That was me.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't you.
I just meant that, getting in at 8:59 was me, so a little hiccup like a microphone thing.
Oh no, you're good, man. It's all
Yeah.
good. It's all good, man.
All right,
I
well, could
just
I
watched. I just watched last episode of Daredevil, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, can I get into that, but I want to tell you why I'm wearing the Defiant cuz
Oh yeah, let's do it.
as I'm
Yeah.
driving home from the grocery store, like this is the first thing in the morning for me. That's why I was a little late because I
Oh, okay.
unwisely stopped at the
Oh
grocery
right.
store, right? And I thought it was going to be quick, but the Recall Joel and Guardio guys were out front, so they recognized me because I'm like on the Facebooks telling people to fuck off in a hilarious way, and so so they're all like, "Oh, they're young." Anyway, so on the way home, I'm screaming home. They've changed our highways and exits and shit. I'm finding new ways to get home, and nothing is faster than the 7 minutes the old way took me from the school.
Mm.
And anyway, I'm stopped at this fucking light now. A three-way stop sign is now a light that's just interminable.
That's
And
dumb.
and I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to wear for Star Trek? Can't wait to talk to John about Star Trek. I know he's into DD. That was a fucking awesome episode. Can't wait to talk about shit. And then I somehow thought, what am I going to wear, right? And I'm like, you know what? This fucking thing that's going on in the world about everybody going, just political stuff that there's everybody's split. I was thinking, you know what? That's my problem with Cooley and all the like Justman Memo guys is that they're trying to tell me that shit I saw with my own eyes didn't happen. And so everybody knows I love the Exeter, but I'm like, you know what? That's why I fucking love the Defiant too. This was on a show, and they go, yeah, that's just apocryphal. I'm like, you can't do that, man. The Defiant, all the original series Connies had their own fucking insignia, and you should just fucking shut up about it.
Yeah, because they were special. They were special ships.
There's only 12 others like it in the fleet, right?
Right.
So all that bullshit about like, oh, Commodore Decker has a special thing because he's a Commodore. No, he has a special thing because he's the guy who fucking has a fleet of which the Constitution is the lead ship. So fuck you. And that's why I wore this. And it's my only red shirt.
Yeah.
And it's because the guy they turn over that shows the insignia, so it has a big blast in his chest. And I was like, I was gonna do that, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna teach myself how to sew and put some fucking rank braid on.
Uh-oh.
And so let's get to Daredevil.
So bad. So I'm sorry, man. I just took a quick little nap.
Wow. I feel that that would be a good episode for us anyway. Just like me talking about some nonsense that doesn't matter, and you just like crashed on the couch with like Gus licking your hand.
Like, you son of a bitch, Gus.
What do you think, John? You're like, see, he agrees with me.
See? My hair looks awful, man. What is going on here?
You had that Shatner going on last week, which was
this
awesome.
is what happens.
You need to just put a little water on the top on the sides there, and you're fine. Yeah, there you go. That looked a little Molinari from B5. A little Londo.
All right, we're good to go.
Anyway,
we're good to go.
I can do that with my whiskers.
Nice. I haven't shaved in 3 years.
Me neither, really.
Yeah.
Hey,
so we got Trek.
We got Phil. We got Justin. This is great.
Yeah.
All right. So are we talking Star Trek, or do you want to go right into Daredevil?
I mean, if people want to talk Star Trek, that's fine. We could also talk about how Daredevil's the greatest fucking show.
Well, it's certainly the greatest non-Star Trek show happening right now.
Well, right, of its genre, right?
Because there's no Star Trek shows happening now.
Well, there hasn't been a Star Trek show
Right.
in like 30 years. So,
well, you got to give it to Lower Decks.
well, that's true. Lower Decks. That's true. That's a good point. Lower Decks.
I saw somebody actually, there's a lot of movie prop and model making, mask making guys that are into Star Trek. And I saw some guys just like totally going nuts about the first animated show. And so he'll make like little maquettes of some monster that's in some episode once, but
That's
then
awesome.
full on do like if it was an AMT model box from the 70s with all this trade dress and stuff. And it looks like a real fucking thing you can buy. And the thing I'm interested in is everybody goes, oh, good, nice AI. And it's like, no, that guy fucking did actual graphic design work. And you need to give him the credit for it because that's not AI.
The fuck, dude? I hate AI so much.
Yeah. I mean,
I hate everything about it.
I get how it's useful for some people, but the stuff that's ready for just lunkheads that don't have any skills and go, look what I made. That's the part I don't like. It's like, come on, man.
Well, it's just like we're doing it backwards, right? If you want to use AI to do like complex math, sure, that's fine. If you want to use AI to solve like to write your English essay, like
right.
no, don't do that part.
I get Mimi. Whenever I say fuck AI, Mimi's like, oh well, here's some specialized task that I use to, and I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's a tool that you use for your job. I'm talking about these people using the combined electronic power than 177 other countries to fucking spell Star Trek wrong on a model box.
Right.
Like fuck that.
Fucking assholes.
Anyway, Mimi's in her work cabin in the back, and I just went in and I said, hey, can you just hit this little hook and eye collar thing for me? Because there's a huge flesh colored V if we don't do that.
Nice.
I just can't do it myself, right?
Sure. Yeah.
She's in the middle of a meeting and she just says, oh, excuse me. Okay. And then, but that was 8 minutes ago. And she just sent me a picture of the cats.
That's awesome.
Like, honey, I love you, but like, why are you making my computer bang when John and I have righteous indignation about
righteous indignation
jerks that like our religion in the wrong way for us? That's what we need. I'm going to start. You're obviously award-winning Star Trek expert, Dr. John Price, and that's a legit thing in the real world. But since I keep saying that I like Star Trek's my religion, I'm just going to crown myself bishop, and I'm going to make one of those tall hat things and look like a full-on like. Bishop.
Look, if L. Ron Hubbard can do it, anyone can do it. All right.
Yeah, but he made his own religion. That's just too much work. Roddenberry and Gene L. Kuhn and those guys, they already gave me my religion. So I'll just,
Look, the people who put the Bible together, they didn't write the Bible. They just put it together. They were just like, oh, these are the canonical texts. Here you go.
Yeah. Walker and I were talking about that just yesterday because it's a thing in our family. There's a giant cross on Mount Davidson. It's a feature of the geography of San Francisco. And when he was about 5 or so, we're driving by the highway and he goes, hey, what's with that big plus sign up on the hill?
Nice.
And I drove off the road because I realized, we don't really talk about organized religion. Like it's traditional stuff. We follow Christian and Jewish holidays that have good food.
That's celebrate Christmas,
Right, of course. Like everybody celebrates Christmas.
That's not even religious at this point. It's just Christmas.
It really isn't, right?
It's just Christmas.
So, or it's its own thing, right? It's a secular religion. I have like 4 Santa Claus suits,
Yeah.
I dig it. But I also I dig Passover as well because you get all these traditional things and there's a funny story around what you eat. But the best part is, man, fucking if you know a guy, firstborn sons like skate. So that's my favorite, being the firstborn son, and my kid is also firstborn son. So I presented it to him like that. So we all love Passover.
I'm a firstborn son.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, you know a guy, put that lamb's blood on the door and you're good.
Yeah.
My brother, Dave.
Gotta go, buddy.
It's like, I've known you for fucking 15 years or something like that. I think you've mentioned your brother twice.
Yeah, it's about right. Yeah, it's about right.
I just think, but I think that's funny because I mentioned my sister maybe twice. You know, it's
Well,
just
Jordan
like,
Scott always joked that like he didn't even know I had a brother until like 2 years ago.
that's funny because you
I've
went to
known
school.
Jordan since I was a freshman in college.
Yeah, you
Like,
went to school with him, so that's pretty impressive. Like
yeah.
Dave never came to visit you or anything like that.
Oh yeah, he lived down here for a while.
But I mean, for
Wait, who
Jordan,
are we talking about?
your brother Dave, for Jordan to know him in college, like he never came to visit you at
Oh
school.
no. We were 5 years apart in like school
Yes.
years, right? We're like 4 years apart in like linear time, but
Sure.
5 years apart in school years because like
Right.
the way the stupid school systems work.
Yeah, and who's
So
born
like we
when?
were
All
never
that.
in school at the same time. So like I was out of high school when he started high school. I was out of
Right.
college when he started college, right? So no,
Wow, I wouldn't even bother talking to somebody like that.
I know, right? Like what's the I mean, you're basically
What's the point?
you're a different species at that point.
I,
No,
I
my
love Jeff.
brother is he's hopefully gonna get good news very soon, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see
so
about
he's not being shipped out of the country, or that girl wasn't pregnant. What's his good news?
that. I don't think he's being shipped out. I don't think he has any tattoos. But well, the good news is maybe that girl is pregnant.
Oh, then that's a happy thing. Nice
Maybe.
job, Dave.
We'll see. We'll find out soon. But
That's bold to be talking about that before people don't really know, right? I mean,
I'm a bold kind of guy.
you didn't. No, I mean him. Like you know
Oh,
about
him.
that, and
Well,
you didn't really tell anybody.
I'm being more cautious about it than he is.
The oh, okay, that's
I'll
fine.
explain later.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Anyone who's gone through, like, I'm now an expert, right? So anyone who's gone through the process understands that there's certain steps you got to get through, right? And
Yes.
he's on like step like 1.5, and
Oh
I'm
well,
like,
that's good.
I wouldn't say anything until step like 3, but you
Yeah,
know,
me
that's
too.
just me, you
But
know?
that's cool that
Yeah,
he reached the first hurdle.
yeah,
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 so that's good.
yeah. He
That's
found a girl.
I
Yeah.
knows what the dangly bits are for. I get it. All right, nice job, Dave.
No, he's
Yeah.
dated the same girl since high school. He married his high school sweetheart.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That seems.
You know what? You know what? I agree with you. However, they are legitimately like perfect for each other.
You know,
Like the
God
two of
bless
them, they
everybody.
just fit together. You
I
know?
know a couple. I have a couple
Yeah,
pals like that, and that's it
yeah,
exactly. It's like, why
yeah,
fuck around when you know that's who you want to spend the rest of your life
yeah.
with? I'm
Like
like,
he has a
that you knew
very
when you were 12 is pretty impressive, but you know,
right.
whatever.
He has a very specific personality, and she puts up with it. And he, you know, she has a very specific sense of humor, and he thinks she's funny. So like, it just works. You know,
Yeah, that's
it just
awesome.
works. You know? Yeah,
Aw, you just filled me with nice feelings about Mimi. Because
yeah.
once you find somebody that can put up
Oh
with
yeah.
your shit and laughs at your idiocy, that's 3/4 of it right there.
No, it is. It is. It is. And it's very cliche to be like, "Oh, if you know, you know." But I mean, like, you do.
That's why they put that on the zippers.
That's why they call it puppy love.
Walker made that joke to me. He's like, "Why does it say YKK on the zippers?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, if you know, you know." They just left a couple of words off. And I was like,
That's funny. That's very
"Right
funny.
on, man."
What is
that's
going on over
that's
here?
gonna be a joke I steal.
That's a very funny joke.
You know the thing about $25 jokes, the Robin Williams thing?
Is that
Is
better? No, that is not better. That is.
nah, you're
I'm
good.
freaking out over
You're
here.
such
Okay,
a
because I got
vain
this thing going
bastard,
on.
man. Put a Star Trek coat on. There's probably one right there, and then you're good, right? You've been abandoned on a planet for a while. You're building
That's right.
mnemonic memory circuits with stone knives and bear skins.
That's right.
Like nobody's checking your haircut.
That's right.
Just tell people your head got caught in a mechanical rice picker.
The grooming standard is not being kept.
I will never forget the first time Walker and I watched City on the Edge of Forever, because I told him this is a good one, man. This is the one that a lot of Star Trek fans say this is the best. I'm like, I'm not going to say that, but it's up there. And he's like, all right, can't wait. And they get to the bit where they're stealing the clothes, and
yeah.
the cop stops him, and Kirk just deadpan goes, "My friend is obviously Chinese," and oh my god, my kid was like, "How did they get away with that?" And I'm like, "It was a
It
different
was
time.
like 20 years after World War
It
II.
was a
That's
different
why,
time, man."
it was a different, his head got stuck in a rice picker. Like, what, what are you going to do?
I just love, but the way Shatner plays that, that's
It's
going to
great.
be fine forever,
It's great.
because the way he plays it, it's like, this is a really awkward thing, and I'm coming up with some bullshit off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, the one conversation I had with him, he's like, well, then Kirk's a racist. And I'm like, no, Kirk knows that he's in 1930s of US, and everybody there is racist. And it's not racist, it's
Right.
just the unsophisticated way people talked about groups, right?
Right.
So the way he plays it, this is an accident, but it's like, it's more like, well, I'm uncomfortable in the situation, I'm trying to get out. This is like every action thing ever, where like you see Bruce Wayne with Batman's mask going, oh, there's a perfectly a good explanation for this, right? Anyway, that's going to be good forever.
No, I agree. Shatner is an amazing actor.
3 siblings here, and none of them like the battles for Trinitron. Is that so? I don't get that. Trinitron is like an old TV or game console, right? So Phil is saying his siblings didn't like Star Trek, and that it turned into a battle for control of the television. And speaking of Passover, that's the best thing about being the oldest son. No, we're not watching Zoom. We're watching Star Trek.
Nice.
And then my sister eventually, she hates Star Trek because it was presented that way. But Star Trek's so good, she has favorite episodes.
I mean, yeah.
Think about that for a minute. I love that.
I feel like, and I don't think Star Trek is intentionally gendered or anything like that. I mean, not like Star Wars. Like Star Wars is intentionally for little boys.
Yeah.
Right. But I do think that there is a very stereotypical gender divide where it's like, I'll say the word normal. Normal people. I know. I shouldn't start like that. But in my experience, the typical reaction is like women they'll like 1 or 2 episodes, they'll like Tribbles, they'll like the one with the whales, they'll like a couple things like that, and they just don't care about anything else. Not that they dislike it, it's just they just don't care.
My sister likes all the girl centric episodes. Like she loves Paradise Syndrome. She loves Amok Time, because that's just the girls taking over for a minute. But I get it, because at least in the old days when Star Trek was on, like there weren't a bunch of action adventure TV show adult women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you get friends at school that were like, I'll never forget this. I had a friend in school who loved the Planet of the Apes TV show, and like she was like, me and my buddies were playing Apes and Astronauts on the
nice
recess yard, because we were like 10 when that show was out, and
it's perfect age.
And she was like, "Can I play with you guys?" We didn't understand. We're playing Planet of the Apes, right? She's like, "Yeah, well, you want to be an ape?" He's like, "No, I'm an astronaut." I'm like, "All right." That just means that all these guys are chasing you and me around because we're astronauts. And she's like, "Okay, all right." The astronauts are cool. Yeah,
good plan.
That actually impacted my Planet of the Apes stuff, because I was like, yeah, the actual Planet of the Apes sucks when the apes show up. Like I want to see. Me and this girl want to see what happened to the astronauts.
That's hilarious. Planet of the Apes. Yeah, it gets really boring after those first 10 minutes.
The planet of the reason we all bought tickets, except for Larry. Anyway, are we going to talk about Daredevil? I love Daredevil, man.
I love Daredevil. Daredevil's great.
I can't believe they killed Foggy, man. It's looking like they killed Foggy.
I didn't see him.
I don't like that. And
they brought Karen back.
They put that dude 4th in the credits, just so people like me would go, "Oh, he's coming back." It's Vanessa. Vanessa has a big thing. There's a whole comic book story about this. He's in the FBI secret stuff. Maybe season 2, but that sure looked like he was dead. And Matt and Karen were crying about him being dead. And I don't see somebody showing up like 18 months later and going, "Hey, everybody, what I miss?" And then all your friends being cool with that. Like, not in the superhero world.
No.
Oh, this
Yeah, I do feel like I want to watch it again because I feel like I missed things.
okay.
Especially some of like the Punisher stuff. It was very dark, like
Yeah.
physically very dark. Like it was not lit, well lit, you know, intentionally, of course. But so I want to like rewatch all that stuff, and but just the general story I think was great.
I very
Should we
much.
do? I mean, do we care about spoilers? I don't give a shit.
It's over. If you haven't seen it,
Over.
like, that's not our problem.
Fuck you.
I'm not that severe about it unless somebody starts giving me shit about
Yeah.
spoilers. It's like, no, you sit down and shut the fuck up
Yeah.
because this is a pop culture narrative that has been presented to the audience. If you haven't read it yet, nobody's going, "Hey, fucking spoilers on Moby Dick." If you haven't read it yet, that's because you weren't fucking paying attention.
It's true.
So that's great. You know, catch up or don't, or have any judgment you want about us, but we're doing this other thing over here. So fuck you, spoilers.
Yeah. I love the way they used Punisher in this season.
Yeah.
I love it because it was a total misdirect. Because you're like, oh yeah, of course Punisher's gonna kill whoever. Like he doesn't give a shit, right? And then they're like, oh, it was actually a cop wearing a Punisher outfit. Oh my god! And then you get to the final episode, and Punisher is like Frank Castle is staring at the cops, going, "You're all pussies, and I hate you."
He's
You're
laughing
using
in their faces.
like he's like, "You're all what's he call them, fanboys?"
Yeah. Oh,
Like
I said
brilliant.
I have this friend Dan Moran who's a pretty good sci-fi guy, but he loves TV just like we do. And so we were talking about that, and I was just he pointed that out, and I was like, the thing I love most about that is that Barenthal says that with just the excruciatingly correct amount of derision.
Yes,
Like you fucking fanboys.
yes.
You don't fucking know. You're just wearing the outfits. And I
Yeah.
was thinking about the real world cops that are probably like, "Oh, my buddy Punisher's on this show. I gotta watch it." And then they're just gonna hate the last episode because the Punisher's telling you, "Don't be a."
I mean, Frank Castle doesn't go on too many monologues, and the fact that they gave him a monologue about how much cops wearing Punisher outfits is like bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yes, please, yes. And it wasn't preachy. It wasn't like, you know, oh, woke, whatever, like any of that shit. It was like, no, you guys are pussies. Thank you.
I love that. They tried to do it in the they tried to do that in the comics. It's like, "Hey, look, everybody, the Punisher doesn't like you," but none of those guys read. So they're like, "All right, we got to do this in a show then, I guess," because those things are gonna be passed to each other on the internet forever.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting because you know, Bernthal's been doing such a good job with Frank Castle. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm not a comics guy, but I'm just talking about the character itself, right? The character as presented on the screen has been so amazing. But they don't write him as a hero. Like, he's never a hero.
He isn't
he's
in
just
the
he's a force
either.
of nature, right? And it's just like, oh, now he's doing this thing, and it's like he's completely agnostic toward right and wrong. Mm-hmm. Outside of what he believes is right and wrong. And like, you can't root for him because in the next scene, he's going to be ripping someone's face off, literally, you know? And it's like, oh, he, you know, what was that one season where he tries to shack up with like the single mom or whatever. And it's like, oh, he grew a heart. And then he like just leaves her.
So
he's like, nope, I don't have a heart.
Is that in his own show?
Yeah.
So
I think that was a Punisher. Yeah.
You want to hear something cool about your buddy Larry?
Yeah.
I don't fucking care about the Punisher as the lead in his own movies and TV shows. The character doesn't work because of that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely because of that. So I was telling Walker that yesterday. Oh my god, we lost Mimi after we watched that episode because she's just like, "I'm gonna go do something in the kitchen because you guys are in the weeds," and we're like, "We're not in the weeds. This is what we need to do." Anyway. Walker told me he heard this interview with Barenthal, who said the interviewer said there's been lots of versions of Punishers, but yours is widely considered the best. Like, why do you think that is? And he kind of laughed, and he's like, these actors just do their take on a character. Like the Punisher's no different than Macbeth or Captain Kirk or whatever, right? It's a role you're playing.
Yeah.
But he goes, and so the guy asked him, well, did you do comic book research? He goes, funny story about this. Like the studio gave him a bunch of Punisher comics to read, and then a list of others, and he flew through all the early ones because Punisher comics aren't that great. Like the ones by Garth Ennis are pretty cool, but it's a specific take on the character, and that's what they did in the Ray Stevenson movie. So like all of the oops, I don't know why I hit that again. Hide. So I went through it with Walker. I'm like, this doesn't work because of this. This doesn't work because of this. And he's like, no, I'm telling the story. Like, oh, sorry. I do that all the time. And he goes, no, Barenthal said he went to a comic store and said, I read all this stuff and I need to pick up some other. This is the list. This is the list of what I need. And the guy behind the counter was like, man, you think I don't know who you are or why you're in here?
Right.
Fuck this list. I'm gonna go pick out the comics you need. And he's like, fine, you're the guy, right? And he went and picked up all these runs of Daredevil and all of these runs of Spider-Man that Punisher's in, right? And he goes, this is the Punisher that comic people want. Like the Punisher is not a complex character. No. Like what you noticed, right? He doesn't care about what you think of right and wrong. No. It's what he thinks is right and wrong. And that's great when they're having that fight in the end. And Daredevil's like, Frank, don't kill that guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about that guy? Is that guy okay? Because fuck him too. So like he didn't care who he was killing. It's like these motherfuckers all needed to die. That's all.
Yeah.
And so that's great because that's the character in a nutshell. And he really works when some other character is going, dude, there's ways to do this. And he's like, yeah, like this is my way to do that. Did I tell you they killed my family? So fuck everybody. Hey, fuck you while we're at it, Matt. Really? You want to go? And it's like, no, thank you for your help. That's why his Punisher is perfect. He has it in his head that the Punisher doesn't fucking give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's what was wrong with all the movies. They were like, they're trying to give him a character you can root for. You can't root for an executioner, man. That's why they wear hoods. You can't root for that. It's not good, but you need it in society because there are stupid people doing criminal shit. Anyway.
Well, you need it in that society, that fictional society.
Yes, obviously.
You don't need it in real society.
Yes. Fascism isn't really working for us right now.
Yeah, it's not really going that great. Yeah. But yes, so Bjorn brought up that fight scene. That fight scene was awesome. That's one of the parts I need to rewatch because it was just so dark. It was hard to miss what was going on.
That's one of the things we liked about it. Me and Walker, we talked for 10 minutes about that it's not so much that it's hard to see what's happening. It's that I think they did that on purpose and it works, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter who they're killing.
It doesn't.
All these dickheads, So
yeah. Well, so and it's symbolic. It's like it's symbolic on a couple levels, and it's I mean, I get it. It's just I want to know what's going on, so I'm going to rewatch it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would never tell you don't watch that show again because it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I did like a subtle thing they did with Bullseye is that when they he had a superhero costume on, but you really couldn't tell except for the one bit when he put his like sort of like I don't know balaclava on. It had like a target right on the forehead,
right?
And it was super subtle and the same color, and it like
we
ended up like pausing it but we watch pop culture stuff like the Zapruder film. If you're Stone.
I mean, as you should. I was also confused about the timeline a couple times, but again, that's just I was probably letting the dog out or something. They did a lot of subtle stuff like that. Like what are you gonna do? But what are you gonna do? You just gotta watch it again.
Are you like that's a specific thing because I know you don't you come to those comic book characters through the movies and TV.
Right.
So are you looking forward to Thunderbolts or
I
are you not?
saw a ad for that,
Mhm.
and I was literally thinking I should bring this up to Larry because I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. And like one of the lines is like, "Oh, this character is more powerful than all the Avengers combined." I'm like, I don't care. Like
yeah, you'll see.
it's the increasing power problem in movies where they have to have, oh, the next villain is more powerful than the last villain. It's like you don't always have to do that, you know?
So did you
As
notice that?
proven by fucking Daredevil.
Did you notice that the Thunderbolts has an asterisk after
I
it?
did. I was wondering what that was, but then I
So
decided I don't care.
okay, well, never
No,
mind.
I want to know. I want to know. I'm just kidding. I want to know.
It's just the coolest idea ever. It's 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 the it's the bad news bears for superheroes.
Okay.
So Julia Louis Dreyfus from Seinfeld
Yeah.
is Nick Fury's former girlfriend, Valentina Contessa, whatever.
Okay.
And so she's because Nick has disappeared and all the events has happened. They kind of have to have a guy running shit. So Feige or somebody had the brilliant idea. Well, just get the Contessa to run a bunch of scrubs, and it goes horribly wrong because they're all the shitheads. And it's based
Isn't
on a
is
comic book, of
okay.
which I'm very excited because I'm in a lot of comics in the early 2000s because
Okay.
of the position I had as a marketing guy, the minister of propaganda at Comics Experience.
Hmm.
So somebody would come and have a great time, and we put on a show for him, and they'd be like, "Man, that was a blast. I'm sorry that I can't have a party for you at my house." And I'd be like, "Well, just fucking put me in the comics you're in, right?" And so that's how I got to be Deathlock. But the first one was me and Brian and Rob, the guys that worked at Comics Experience. Uh, the Thunderbolts were destroying San Francisco, and Kurt, the writer, and I think it was Ron Garney, who's the artist. I don't know. I forget who the artist was. But they wrote a little thing that the Thunderbolts are fucking destroying shit down in front of Comics Experience. And the three of us come out and go, "What the fuck is that?" And it's just a
That's
funny little
funny.
thing, right?
Well, hopefully
So
that's in the movie.
they didn't contact me, or someone else is playing us, I guess. I don't know. If they get some PA to play me, then that's great.
It's actually what Walker's doing right now. He just didn't tell you as a Father's Day gift.
Well,
You know?
that'd be cool. I'd be mad that I'm not like hanging out with Wyatt Russell and him tell me dumb shit about what his dad said about his dog when he was 10.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, so why is there an asterisk?
So they're not really a team yet.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
provisional team.
Oh, that's that's certainly an answer.
You're like,
Isn't this just the
very
Suicide Squad?
pedestrian.
Isn't this just Suicide Squad where they're like, oh, these bunch of misfits coming together?
I think that's probably why nobody had a problem with them greenlighting it and going down there. But this movie is going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting for Doomsday and then whatever they end up calling the Secret Wars one. I think it's Battle World. But like,
what is Doomsday?
So the next bit, they're trying to clean up the multiverse thing.
Good.
So
Sucks.
instead of doing another 15 movies like they would have in the old days, they're doing 2 giant event movies. And speaking of Jordan Scott, back when Infinity War was coming out, they hadn't announced the title. I don't know if you remember, but he kept calling it Avengers Everybody. And I just thought that was perfect. But now this one's Avengers Everybody, to the point where they're introducing Doctor Doom, but it's a version of Tony Stark. So that's what the Robert Downey thing happened. So basically, it's Iron Man, it's evil Iron Man with silver armor instead of, So
cool.
Trust me,
that's really cool,
going
guys.
to be fucking bell ringing for people. I know it sounds kind of like yawn, ho hum. We can't get rid of this guy, but it's a brilliant way to introduce the Doctor Doom character into the world, because he's not Tony Stark is not Doctor Doom. It just doesn't work that way, right? But he does in this, and then that pulls the Fantastic Four in and the X-Men, and it just sets up all kinds of shit. But Thunderbolt is doing some heavy lifting because they're killing half of those characters, or at least
good.
at least Taskmaster.
Well, that's good.
I hope they don't kill a couple of them. But the Lewis Pullman character is this guy called Sentry, and he's the most powerful. And it's great because it's a comic book thing that was presented to comic book fans as this was a character that Stan Lee made in the early 60s that just was rejected, and they want to bring it into the modern world. That was all marketing bullshit. But it was a way to go, you care about this cool new character, right? Because it was some old thing. And so they're trying to legitimize that character in this, and I can't wait for it. I'm here for it.
Is what's his face in that? Sebastian Skywalker, is he in that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all. It's the.
I thought I recognized him.
It's the team of all the like kind of scrubby guys. Like you don't have Captain America anymore, so you get U.S. Agent. But it's Wyatt Russell, and he's fucking great in it, right?
Right.
And so you get Bucky, of course, which is kind of weird because he's a senator or a congressman now, who's still kind of running around beating up bad guys. Okay.
Who's a senator?
Bucky. Sebastian Stan.
Why?
I don't know, man.
Trump's America, man. Anything can happen.
I think that after the events of Endgame, like they kind of didn't know what to do with that character, but everybody loves him. So they're like,
do they?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of everybody loves Sebastian Stan.
I love Sebastian Stan.
So that's you keep that guy in there and try to legitimize his character. So they're like, let's make him a politician, and he can fight for good, without his mechanical arm or whatever.
He can fight for good legitimately.
Right.
Well, that's cool, man.
They got a guy inside.
Let me know how it goes.
And, you didn't see the Cap Falcon movie, did you?
No, God, no.
Yeah, all right. Well, Bucky's a senator in that. He's
okay. Well, that's good.
He's
That's good.
This is what we've been reduced to. The Star Trek is either not on or awful. So we have to talk about superhero movies you don't care about.
Yeah. So as part of Daddy Daycare, I make them watch Star Trek while they, play in the playpen and, walk around and stuff. And
Sure.
One of the relatives was like, I've never seen Star Trek. That's the same as Star Wars, right? Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Exactly the same.
This is, I gotta go.
Yeah, the part I don't get about that is like no one goes, "Oh, Jaws, you like Jaws, huh? Seminal thing that started the whole summer blockbuster thing in 1976." Yeah, I never saw that, but I fucking love Anaconda.
Right?
Like what? They're two different things, man. Anyway,
it's the word star. I guess it really fucks people up.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And like nothing against the person, like
no, of course not. Everybody's fine. Into the stuff they're into, right?
But it's just a weird. Like I've never encountered that in the wild before.
It does just seem. Still now in 2025, you'll get people like, I've never seen Star Wars. Like, how is that fucking possible? You're you're in your early 60s, man. You were able to drive yourself to the theater, and
right?
You just didn't go. This thing that the entire planet was watching for like 3 years. They kept re-releasing it. It's just missed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you can't get mad at like a 20-year-old for not seeing Star Wars.
Right.
But like if you're, a real person, you should have seen Star Wars at some point. Or you should at least like know what it is.
Anyone under 35 is just not a real person, right?
No, God, no. Generation Z and under, no, they are not real people. No.
Yeah. Depends on who they, their parents.
Nope. Nope.
Just illegitimate. They have no rights.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. It's an uphill battle.
I got it.
An uphill battle.
Got to prove yourself.
Don't use ChatGPT and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I saw a student one time use ChatGPT for their math homework. And it was like
ChatGPT for math. I mean, I'm not even
and
sure
it was like
that
algebra. It's not like they were doing quantum physics. It was like, high school level algebra.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Did it work?
Kids today.
Did ChatGPT get the answers?
I don't know. Because ChatGPT doesn't always give you right information because it's bullshit and Skynet is coming.
Did you hear what Robert Picardo said about why the fucking 1,000-year-old emergency medical hologram is teaching at Starfleet Academy?
No.
I
What
didn't
did he
either.
say?
I didn't either, but I saw a headline that said whoever was writing the article was like, "Hey, did you hear what he said about the thing? The Voyager fan in me is absolutely thrilled." And I know that you love Janeway and Voyager, so I was wondering if you had run across that. But
no, and
all right, well, if we were professionals, I would have read that article before I brought it up and had some information to tell you, and then you could be like, "Oh,
well, what
well,
he said, he probably said, I'm very happy to do this,
get a
and
job
I'm cashing a
again."
paycheck, and I can now go to more conventions and get more money, and I'm still working, and everything's
Still
fine.
working. All right, here
Um,
I got his thing. I would say the Doctor is as we remember him, but deeper, the way he was, but more so, if that makes sense. He still certainly has his sense of humor, but there's a depth to him now that from that incredible sense of immortality. I think we could all
Jesus.
agree it would be a blessing and a curse. What a fluffy actor answer that is. I'm doing the best I can with this impossible setup, but it's a character everybody loves, and I enjoy it too. So I'm just gonna roll with it and think, yeah, it's
I'm
been 1,000.
thanking God that the check cleared.
Well, at this point, all right. Phil's got any thoughts on a Star Trek character deserving of a series similar to Star Wars Andor? Ooh, that's great.
Um,
Oh man, I had one jump to my head immediately.
only Starfleet or other people?
He says any Star Trek character deserving of a series similar to Star Wars Andor.
I mean, a Garrick show would be really interesting. Like Garrick pre DS9 would be interesting, and that'd be a way they could fucking jerk off all their like Section 31 bullshit. But they could do it with the Obsidian Order, which is like an established thing.
Saga
I
says,
would like to see. You know what I would like to see. And I know they ruined this because they included her in the other thing, but I would like to see a Rachel Garrett show.
"Oh, that's cool."
I think
Yeah,
like
Enterprise C.
that would be a cool way to like go through that era of the timeline. And like Rachel Garrett was such a badass in like the half of one episode she's
Right,
in.
a 30
Um,
seconds she was on screen.
yeah, and I mean, it's funny because I always made this point. We were talking about the other bullshit show, about how like we had 3 seasons and still didn't know the characters, and yet in one episode you knew everything about Ro Laren. Just different
Yeah.
levels of writing. So yeah, I think Rachel Garrett would be a good one. I think what's his face, Garrick would be a cool one. Don't touch any TNG characters.
Oh, really? I
Uh,
have one. I have one that would rock.
okay, what is it?
Well, Sagasag has Okona, the outrageous Okana, which I really like because they want to do Star Wars, and that's fucking
Yeah,
Han
it's
Solo.
true.
So
That's Han
fucking go
Solo.
ahead.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
mine, oh my god, just stick with me with this, right? An Andor, like shot like that, just 100%, not 90s lights are all on, but
Yeah.
also not 2025's lights are all off. Just the fucking dark and gritty fucking Vosh show. Give me
Ooh,
Vosh.
there you go. Vosh
And
would be a cool show.
but now you gotta hire somebody that looks kind of like Jennifer Hetrick or what that actress's name,
Hmm.
because part of what makes Vosh so fucking awesome is that she's girl Indiana Jones and looks like it.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I'm like, Sydney Sweeney, I'm sorry we can't have you play this character,
No.
but
No.
I kind of don't know who I'd go with, right? Because
Yeah, I'd have to.
you have to have girl James Bond, right? Oh, okay, give me Anna Aramis as Vosh, because you need someone who's gonna look fucking great, dirty and covered in grease and punching Nazis, space Nazis. But you
Hmm.
also you got to have somebody that puts on a skirt and like, your brother's dead, keep dancing because I need this thing from the 25th century, Anyway, Justin
Look at
says
that.
anyone from the TNG episode Lower Decks.
I mean, that'd be interesting.
That's a good call, man. But they kind of aired out some of those characters already.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Interesting. That's a good one.
You know what I don't know if an Andor style one, but here's somebody that could support a show is Dr. Richard Daystrom. If you want to go into the past and everything, give me a show about the guy who runs CERN, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's fucking go Space CERN.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that is so funny is that there can't possibly be a dearth of creativity. It's just the bean counters have way too much to say about the story people want to tell, you know? And that's the part that I keep, you know, my kids going to film school and I tell them, like, don't be like me, man. You have to do the creativity and the politics of being a job at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're very creative. Or let me rephrase that. I think they have bad creativity. I think the creative decisions they make are bad. In addition to the studio decisions are bad.
I just think they're hiring people and not letting them do what they got hired for. You know, so whose fault is that? That's not.
Well, I think they're hiring people who don't have good ideas.
Okay, well that's different, right?
Well, okay. I'm trying to find a way to phrase this. So it's like they're hiring people who should not be writing. Okay. So like they hired a bunch of like the CW 90210 writers. Like those people should not be writing a sci-fi show.
No, of course. It's like I don't understand why they did that. And then those guys they hired were like cast Tilly, and then we're like try to like gaslight everybody about how beautiful she is, and
oh my god, dude,
it just puts everybody in a bad position because it's like, no, most people have an idea of what Hollywood beautiful is, and if you're trying to make a point that to not do that, well then that's fine, but you have to say that. You can't
that's a perfect example though, because it's like nobody would have said anything if they weren't trying to shove it down people's throats.
Exactly.
And it's like stop, like, dude, I don't have dude, I'm fat. Like, I'm a fat dude, right? Like, you're not, and I love to fucking, how many fucking cosplay Star Trek people are fat, right? Go to a convention, they're all fucking fat, right? But so that's not the problem. The problem is they're like, oh, the Slay Queen, yay! And it's like, no.
Right.
No.
It's just it's bad.
Anyway, it's all good.
I kind of don't feel bad because I would never in a million years say anything about how somebody looked in the real world, right?
No.
But theatrical presentations are a different thing. It's like not just TV. It's not Star Trek specifically. It's not TV. It's not movies. It's not plays. Isn't it? If you're a fucking model, there's a whole job employment thing that you write in where it's like, I'm judged on my looks.
Right.
And so if, like you said, if they bring up looks, then that's a valid area of inquiry. Right. Yeah. And to give this actress her credit, I'd never seen her in anything else.
No.
And I fucking hate I hate when she shows up on screen because they write her crazy. Anyway. Yeah. There's a whole Barkley thing that that I don't have to go into. There's a way to write an autistic special person that's a valued member of the crew, and they didn't do that for Tilly.
Correct.
But anyway, we're watching The Residents. Have you heard about that? It's a show. It's a Shondaland show where it's murders in the building, except the building is the White House, right?
Oh, I've seen a commercial for that.
I was into it because Giancarlo Esposito is in it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He plays the murdered guy, but the whole show is like how it got.
He should play Richard Daystrom.
There you go.
That would be amazing.
But the
reason he played Richard Daystrom.
Give me a second. The reason that show is great is because he plays the murder victim, but he's in the whole show because it's like how it's related to him. But the best part is they shot a third of it with Andre Braugher, and then he died. Oh, and so they're like, well, this show's going to go away. And she's like, it can't go away. This is there's a whole bunch of people that are working on this. So they recast with Giancarlo, but he had to be talked into it because he was friends with Andre. And they're like, look, we're not asking you to play the role the way he played it. We're asking you to make sure that his last thing doesn't go away.
Ooh.
And we get to talk about that. And he goes, oh, okay, well, I'll do it. And he slayed it. It was great. But Tilly, the actress who plays Tilly, is in it. And she plays a lunatic chef. Like, she would fit in all the below deck reality shows. I
was going to say, she would fit in as a
probably just watched that and went, oh, I got crazy chef. And she was excellent, right?
Yeah.
But because no one was putting her in spandex that was the wrong color and said, she's beautiful and, oh, she might be pregnant. I don't know. Like, the whole thing was a mess. Anyway, so I feel like after talking about how shitty and wrong she was for 5 years, I do want to say it's nothing with the actress, because she was great.
No. And we bent over backwards to make that point for years, where it's like, it's nothing against the actress or the actors. They're doing what they got to do.
Tony watched it.
Perfect. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Dude, Andre Braugher would have done an amazing job as Richard Daystrom.
Yeah, I agreed 100%.
Yeah. And Giancarlo Esposito would be a great replacement.
He could slay it. He's got that like quiet intensity that I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
And then his face melts off.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved him.
I would watch Richard Daystrom's show.
All right, there you go.
That's it.
I'm available, Paramount.
Yeah.
I'll knock that out for you.
I'm on day to daycare. I can do
it in 7 days. How about that?
You can do anything you want, baby. Just pay me in the sweet latinum. Yeah, not a Quark show. None of the main characters, right? No main characters should have a spin-off, right? I've always pushed, everyone's like, oh, we need a Worf show. I don't fucking need a Worf show.
Right.
I know everything I need to know about Worf. It's like they keep bringing back Data. It's like, dude, no one needs to know anything more about Data. No one needs to know anything more about Spock. No one needs to know anything about Picard, right? We know everything about these guys. Show me fucking...
I love that Worf
someone
thing
else.
Came from, hey, there's a whole bunch of fans that want a Sulu show, so maybe they'll want a Worf show too. It's like, I don't.
But then people are jerking off about it. They're like, yay, Worf. Dude, Worf sucks. Worf's a shitty character.
I do think Phil started us off by saying any version of Star Trek, and I think it's really funny that there's no compelling characters from the modern shows that I'd want to see spun off. There just isn't.
I would want to see. There's one who is the only Discovery adjacent thing I would want to see is there's that one like bridge lady who is on the original ship. What's the original ship called? The
Shenzhou?
Shanghai?
Shenzhou.
Yeah, that one. And it's the redhead girl. And she's on the Shenzhou when all the shit goes down in the beginning of the series. And then she also gets transferred to the Discovery. Of course, she's on the cast, right? And she's now on the Discovery, and she has to deal with Michael Burnham doing all this dumb shit. Right? I want to see Discovery from her point of view. Where she's
funny.
Like, bro, you got all of my friends killed. Now I got to deal with your dumb shit again. Like, that's the show I want. That's the Discovery all-universe show I want, where it's like from her perspective.
You just gave me a great idea. I'm not sure this would support a show, but I could get a pretty meaty graphic novel out of this. Maybe even a novel. But I'm just fascinated by that Arium character, the girl that's plugged into the ship.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that character because for all the reasons that I've talked about it before, but like you could do a Star Trek show that had the name of the ship in the title, the USS Kitty Hawk, right? But the star of the show would be the ship at that point, right? Just seen through that the secondary weapons officers. There's always some secondary person plugged into those ships. Like, dude, tell me what it's like to be that person.
Right.
Tell me what it's like to meet the Apollo with his green hand. Except you're that person. You never sleep. You don't have to. You're half a robot, but you're still a person. Like, like what the fuck? That's so rich.
And they only gave her one episode, right?
Dude,
It was like that one
Yeah,
episode, and they did her whole life in one episode or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
She was in a lot of them. There was some
Yeah,
stuff
she's in the
going on.
background.
There
Yeah.
was some stuff going on with the original actress they cast. She couldn't take all that
Right.
stuff, so they
Yeah,
recast
they
her.
switched actresses.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
then the other girl didn't want to do it either, so they just killed her. The one time they like gave you a glimpse into that character, they killed her in
Yeah.
the lamest way possible.
Yeah.
And then there's 20 minutes of everybody crying about this character. No, the
Yeah.
audience is not invested in any of
Right.
it.
The audience doesn't give a shit. I remember
Dude,
that.
so here's bad news for me. This is what I would call it, right?
Uh-oh.
Star Trek L cars.
Nice. Nice.
Just do that, man.
Nice.
And yeah, anyway, whatever. I'm sorry I had
How
that
about a
thought.
Borg-centric series? No, thank you.
No. That's
No.
just as bad as like Romulan soap operas or whatever they want to do.
I'd watch a Romulan soap opera.
De-
I love the
Detmer's
Romulans.
Detmer's not the redheaded girl, is it? With the
Yeah, it's the redhead.
oh
Yeah.
Detmer.
Yeah. The
Yeah, she
Borg.
had
Has anyone ever
absolutely
read?
no character development whatsoever.
No, none. Anyone ever read the God, it's the series, it's the book series after, like, it takes place after the end of all the shows, but it like follows the main characters. I can't remember the name of the book series, but they just concluded the book series.
Oh yeah,
And it's all the famous book writers. It's
yeah.
what's his face and the other guy. And
Famous
but they wrapped it all up, and they wrapped it all up by basically having like a splinter universe thing, and they had to collapse their own universe in order to save. But there's this awesome like explanation for the Borg in that book series.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
They
that's
were
all.
made by V'ger, right? V'ger went to the moon.
No, they're made by Starfleet, ironically enough.
Oh, that's cool.
But Starfleet in the past.
They didn't know what they were doing.
But no, it's just really awesome. And they have this whole giant Borg invasion in 2381, and it takes out like half of the Alpha Quadrant. And it's pretty awesome. It's a really awesome book series. And then they started making Picard and just ruined everything.
Is that book series that's got Captain Calhoun in it and all those guys?
It includes them.
Yeah.
It takes this one, it takes all of the different ones and it kind of ties them all together.
That sounds pretty
Right?
cool.
It is
I
cool,
followed
and
that.
I cannot remember. I cannot remember what it was called. It ends. It's called. Suntress would know.
Yeah, of course.
The last book is called Coda.
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Trek
No, I
Coda.
totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So anyone out there, just fucking search that shit
I have
and read them.
I have this buddy from the old days.
It's not Lost Souls. It's Lost something.
I have
Not
this
Lost
buddy
Era.
from the
Anyway.
old days that used to work for DC named Marco Palmieri. And I kind of lost touch with him, which is, I mean, we're Facebook friends, but like I used to talk to him a lot for marketing. And I kind of lost touch with him because he was the pocketbook. He accepted a job as the pocketbook editor for all those Star Trek novels. And I kind of didn't want to keep talking to him because I didn't want to be the guy that's like, hey, Marco, remember me from the old days? I'm a giant Star Trek fan. You should give it. I just didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
And so I think it's really cool, and I'm sure it was him that was like, look, this is only Star Trek that people had for a long time. You have to let us tie this up. And so that's where that came from, the Coda.
Yeah.
So right on, Marco.
I believe it.
And pocketbooks. You know, I have a ton
of
pocketbooks. I love that.
Yeah. I have pockets. So anyway, Reavers. I'd watch a show about Reavers.
The Firefly Reavers?
Yeah.
What are
Sagasag says Reavers.
I don't know. I don't get that. Chris, explain yourself.
Chris, what are you talking about, buddy?
Because it sounds a little Blade Runner-y, like my friends, I make them. Reavers, they made them. I don't know. Or it's a quote from something I.
Oh, he's talking about the movie Serenity when they find out that
Firefly,
the Reavers are made by the Federation or whatever.
No,
anyway, it's all good.
Whatever.
Anyway, I think he was trying to make fun of me, which is fine. I understand.
Well, that's what I just didn't want to miss anybody particularly making fun of you personally.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, we figured it out, Chris. Thank you. Chris, what are you wearing? Are you wearing a Star Trek shirt?
Chris, what are you wearing? That's a quote.
From a guy who never pronounces his last name correctly on purpose. What a dick's thing to say.
What a dick.
I love you, Chris. You know that.
Aww.
My father-in-law is kind of reaching the end of the story, and so we're kind of exploring where he's going to spend some time. And we actually looked at where Chris lives in Daly City. Like, that's a cool place Chris found. That would work for the old man. I asked him what he's wearing. He's like, I'm at work. So you're full on Star Trek uniform?
Well, so the correct number of pips, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, pips and squeaks. Oh my god, there's so much specific stuff with all of my costume shit. Like me had some girl that she worked with a long time ago came over to the house and she's showing her office setup and everything. But they come through this place with all the movie props and shit. And I have this little like watch, those cases you use for watches, guys who like watches.
Sure.
That there was a Shield show where Patton Oswalt had all the different lanyards in it. So of course I get one of those, and then I think just for the display, and then I think this is actually a pretty useful fucking piece of kit that's not very expensive. This would be great to hold all my pips and squeaks and uniform badges and patches and shit. So I have one that's out because I use that once a week, right? I'm like, oh, what am I wearing today? Talk to John. And so there's fucking, you see pictures, there's fucking spacesuits everywhere. Frozen Han, there's fucking crazy artwork. There's a talking Hal, and this lady just like fixated on all the insignia and stuff. And I usually have to go through, oh, that's from Mission to Mars, that's from Armageddon, that's Captain Tanner's suit from the Get You. I usually have to go through all that stuff. She made me tell her what every single thing was in the insignia box.
That's awesome.
And she started to lose it when she's like, well, what is this one? Like, oh, it had the big Disney D on it that Dave Porter made for us when we
yeah.
She's like, what is this? That's the Disney D. Does Disney buy Star Trek? I'm like, no, that would be great. I hope they do, because then it would be good again. And then I explained that to her. She's like, well, why did you keep this? And I didn't want to tell her. It was like, well, the guy who made it was a good internet pal of ours and died 2 years ago. And because that's just gonna bum everybody out. But like, yeah, but I'm like, Lucille Ball is why we watch Star Trek. She's like, oh, really? That was great. Anyway,
that's awesome.
It's funny what people get interested in the magic closet,
Yeah.
Nobody cares about my Oscar. I even have the paperwork for it.
Nobody cares.
You love me. You really love me. Anyway, someday I'm gonna. In the old days, cutting granite, I knew all kinds of masters that did hand shaping of granite, which is fucking bananas because it's a very hard rock. It's easy with marble. I could do it with marble with the right tools, but the granite guys are very skilled. Anyway, I would someday I'm gonna get a nice little granite thing gonna do shop tickets, get my calipers on the base and get that a nice.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I like it. So
what is this?
Star Trek
TNG season 1 scored thing. Oh, that's what he's wearing.
Oh yeah, that's what he's wearing. That's right.
I'm sorry you had to tell me that, because now I'm gonna, I've taught myself sewing. I will make you one, Chris.
Now you're gonna get one in the mail. You're gonna get one in the mail.
Anyway. And then looking, Hector's like, I'll be on my bunk. Thinking of Chris in a skirt? I don't know.
I don't know about that.
You have to wear high go-go boots with that too. Yeah. Which I don't think he's prepared for.
Chris, you got some F me boots? No.
That was the thing when I was a kid, and that guy, there's two guys that went walking by, a tall guy and like a short Asian guy. And I was like, okay, I get it's the future. Maybe that's something that they wear on that planet, but like, you can't wear the ankle boots with that. So you have to wear tall boots, and now it doesn't look right, man. Anyway.
Fashion is weird. So I'm trying desperately to save my wand, and I'm never gonna do it, but
never gonna do it.
But I successfully raked out and seeded and watered for overseeding this week, so we'll see.
What kind of lawn are we talking about? Just you trying to get some grass on it?
Yeah, so like half of the lawn has been completely destroyed by Gus.
Hmm.
And the other half of the lawn is basically, it looks like it's a real lawn, but it's all just weeds.
Uh,
Um
it's green.
uh it's green. It's green. And then kind of like the whole thing's a bit of a disaster because a couple years ago we paid these landscaping people to basically like redo the whole thing. But that was a couple years ago. So now it all just looks like shit again. Um, but now we have two little cadets that are gonna want to run around outside
Yeah, yeah.
and
Gotta get all the medical waste off the ground.
yeah, you gotta get all that out and gotta.
Is it a pretty big yard? Because then you got
No, it's
no.
not that big. No.
Is it?
I wish it was bigger. So we have this artificial sort of divide where there's these three giant fucking boxwoods. You guys know what a boxwood is?
The trees.
Yeah, they're the little like bushes, right? The kind of bushes that fucking like tanks would have to go through on Normandy,
Yeah.
right? Um, these fucking things. There's fucking three of them, and they cut off like 20 feet of, if not more, of like behind it. So
Huh.
there's like an extra 20 feet behind there that's all just overgrown bullshit. Because these boxwoods basically are like, well, the yard ends there. And it's like, no, it doesn't.
Can you dig them
So
up?
I would love to get rid of those fucking boxwoods. But that's that's a command decision I don't have authority to make.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
I'll just.
And then we got this whole backside of the garage that, fucking animals just live in because fucking I don't go back there. Fuck that. Um, so it's a
Virginia.
fucked up yard. It's a fucked up yard. And it's
Well,
not that big. Like it's not big enough to be this fucked up, and yet here we are.
I urge you to wait until you have twin girls, because now you have an
Yeah,
excuse to not deal with it. Like
yeah,
I can't. I'm dealing with the children. Have they
yeah.
seen have they seen Daddy Daycare yet? Speaking of that,
Who?
their kids.
Oh yeah. I'm
No, I
off.
mean the movie, not the fact that you are Daddy.
Oh, no. They don't watch movies.
Have you seen it?
We watch Super Kitties,
Super good. Paw Patrol, probably.
and we watch Star Trek, and with
So
mommy we watch reality TV.
I really urge you to watch that movie at some point. It'll make you
Okay,
feel so happy because
good.
Steve Zahn spends his 3/4 of the movie in a gold Star Trek shirt.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's pretty cool. And
So screen accurate. That's good. That's
he
good.
it is screen accurate actually. It's velour first and second season. It's the
That's
fucking real
awesome.
thing,
That's
not this
awesome.
nonsense of polyester and
Well,
I know. But they did it for real. There's Eddie Murphy's in it, Steve Zahn.
really.
It's a good movie and
Okay.
it speaks to your present life. It
Yeah.
will obviously be, a Hollywood comedy, which
Yeah.
probably is not the theme at the Price House most days,
So
but
you'd be surprised.
you'd
You'd be
love it.
surprised. Uh,
It's
it's
more of
very
a
sitcom-y around here.
psychological thriller with humor. That's the way we think. That's what we all think is going on in Virginia over there.
That's accurate. That's very accurate.
Well, we're writers,
Yeah. Psychological thriller with the
The
humor.
best thing though, there's the reason Steve Zahn wears that shirt is because there's a little boy who won't take his Flash uh, Halloween costume off and demands that all the kids are like between 5 and 7, so it's adorable. And so he's like, I'm gonna wear the Star Trek shirt so you don't feel out of place. There's some other story reason, I don't know. I'm just like so happy because I at the time that came out, I love Steve Zahn and he's wearing
It
my
sounds great.
costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they reveal at the end that the little Flash kid it really has Flash powers.
Oh,
They can't find him, and he's like, nobody likes my Flash thing. He doesn't really talk. He all does it in like acting, and then at the end, he's like, well, we accept you, and and he's like, great. And they do a little like
that's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's a fun thing.
Yeah, I'm actually with Phil on this. I think you could probably do a Boothby show, and I would watch it because that would be a Starfleet Academy I would
That
like.
would be good.
I would
Okay.
like that, how the kids interact with the guy who really knows what's going on.
Yeah, and
The
it
guy who
goes
really
through
knows.
time,
Air that shit out all day
Yeah.
long. But
Like a different group of cadets every week.
nobody there. They're all like, "Oh, Phil Giamatti's the bad guy." I'm like, "No, who's playing Boothby?" Like, and if they have that Boothby character in there, it's going to be some throwaway, and
Well, it's 1,000 years in the future, so it's going to be like a hologram
EMH
or
is there,
something.
and obviously you can't get Ray Winston, but like you can have that character. Maybe
Yeah.
Boothby's like the title now after 1,000.
It's like James Bond. It's
Yeah.
the title.
Who's your Boothby hero? This tree is dying. I mean, come
That's
on.
funny.
But
Yeah.
that takes 2 seconds if you have a creative bone in your body, right?
Yeah.
But those guys are like,
They don't.
no, we have to build the biggest set because that's what impresses people who watch Star Trek on their phones. Come on.
Star Trek fans are looking for gold sets. That's what they're looking for.
Gold sets, Trump sets.
Hector, no, I did not sand. I did raking instead of aerating. I understand completely that I am not doing it correctly. However, I only have so much time,
Yeah. Only have so many
and
kids.
kids, and life sucks. And he's just gonna dig up the yard anyway, so it doesn't really matter what I do. This is more of a mental exercise.
Did you ever see those aerating garden shoes you can get? They're just
Garden shoes.
they're steel plates that wrap around your shoes with like
That's awesome.
4-inch nails on them, and you
Yeah,
just walk around.
that's a great idea. I
Yeah.
should get that.
Well,
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
There's also this other really cool thing if you're old like me, that you have knee pads that but they have little things on the other that strap on the other side, little wedges, little wedge
Spikes.
shape that sits under your, so you're kind of sitting down in a chair made of your own legs. If you could picture
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah, it's a really comfortable way to do weaving.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got my back issues I got to deal with. And
Oh man, you and Jordan, everybody's got shitty back issues.
everybody's got fucking back issues, man. Fucking millennials, man, are back issues.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Well, 112, man, are you good? I noticed that 104 we kind of had hit a little lull, and I'm like, I think you and me like have an hour's worth of belly aching in us.
That's about right. That's about right. Just let loose for an hour and then just kind of turn off the valve.
I know I'm speaking for the entire planet that we really appreciate things evolving so you can talk about Star Trek with us again.
I love Star Trek.
I know, but events had transpired.
What do I got in front of me? Do I got any Star Trek in front of me? Oh yeah, I got these things. So we got Star Trek playing cards.
Oh, there you go. I was like, you got to put that in the middle, and it's trying to.
There we go. But they're really
cool.
They're really fun though because they So that's just like what the cover looks like. But
do you have characters in it?
Where's it going? Okay, so yeah. So what they do is
Spock's the Jack of Diamonds.
Yeah, well, this is McCoy, and if you can tell, one side is DeForest Kelley and the other side is Carl Urban.
Oh, come on, that's great.
Yeah, these are really cool. So it does that for the whole thing.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And then, yeah. Although I'm pretty sure these were done before the Pike series because this is just Maisel Barrett on two sides. Anyway, they're fun.
Those are cool. I like that.
I like them.
Every once in a while, they come up with a good one.
Every once in a while. I like the Kelvin verse, the JJ verse. I like it. I wish we got more of those.
The movies, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You hate those 3 movies for a guy that's saying, yeah.
I like the aesthetics and I like the casting. Like, I like the universe.
Cast is pretty good.
Right? Like, the cast is fucking awesome. I love Star Trek Beyond. I know you weren't fond of it, but like I love Star Trek Beyond.
It's fine.
Like I like Star Trek 2009 as a way of like, hey, new universe, reset, that sort of idea.
Yeah.
It's not a smart movie by any means, but it's a fun movie. And then of course Star Trek Into Darkness is the worst thing ever put on film. So
I like that movie a lot more than you do. Because
I like the premise of the beginning of Star Trek Into Darkness, this whole idea of like terrorism comes to the Federation. which is a fucking great premise that they should absolutely look into in like a post 9/11 global war on terror era, and they just turned it into Khan.
Well, that's the problem I have. It's like, if you're gonna do Khan, why?
Why?
We did that movie already, right?
Why?
That's yeah.
I
So
remember I was listening to the commentary on the DVD of Star Trek 2009, and it's fucking douchebag talking about it, and they're like, well, everybody knows we're just going to do Khan next, and we should have had a teaser in here where they just show the Botany Bay. And I'm like, and I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, well, that's dumb. Why would you do that? And then of course that's what they did.
yeah. The reason
Yeah.
they did that is because they're 100% creatively bereft. Here, look, we need to do this really fast. Let's just all the Star Trek fans like the old Star Trek, so why don't we just give them this with their own little spin on it? Which
Very stupid.
it's not a stupid idea, but you have to
Well,
execute that, and they did
right.
not.
It was a horrible
It was
execution of
horrible.
a lazy idea.
Yes, agreed. But I'm a big fan of lazy ideas.
That's fine.
It's
You got to
just,
execute.
but that's the thing, man. If that's when you get the smart people, because like, wow, that was a lazy idea, and that rocked. That guy
Yeah.
did a lot of work, so that's
Yeah.
the attraction for me. But
Yeah.
they did
Fuck
not.
them.
They did not.
Fuck them. That's what I
The one
say.
thing I didn't like about the JJ verse is they changed the uniforms every movie.
Every
Like,
movie.
dude,
Every
that's
movie.
not how you build an audience.
No. And they changed the Enterprise every movie too.
Yeah.
But like it was always stupid, subtle changes. And I'm like, dude, nobody cares that the nacelles are 4 degrees different.
Man, and I loved the engine room was a beer brewery.
It's pretty funny.
Loved that.
It's pretty
Because
funny.
finally you get to see a bunch of fucking shit that's not blue painted plywood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then even the second one, they went to Eugene Ragassa's old stomping grounds, the Lawrence Livermore Labs.
Oh yeah.
You get a
With the
bunch
little
of
nuclear reactor.
yeah, you get a bunch of cool production value out of shit that's really doing science,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. That was
Pretty
great.
cool. Yeah.
But well,
But
now it's all green screens and AI.
fucking AI. I'm gonna use AI to just write a book.
Well, lots of people do.
I mean, why not? Who gives a shit,
I think the thing that there's an opportunity for somebody to just write a good book and then give it an AI skim if you want or whatever. That's just too much work. Or just put in some stuff and have it generate 50,000 words, and then tell everybody, here's the one good AI generated book that's come out. Like, just fucking lean into it. This is better than anything's ever happened. All your shit about AI, I completely agree, but this is where it's at. You would sell 3 copies for every one you did the old way, right? Because people would want to check it out.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter. You've got their money. Like, at that point, we're all fucking OnlyFans at this point, right?
Money is money.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I got to go top off my OnlyFans audience with my.
You got to put on that 30-day special.
That's what Hector was. I'll be in my bunk. It's like Larry and Chris are putting their skirts on.
Yikes! Yikes!
Yeah, don't skip leg day if you're going to wear one of those uniforms. That's all I have to say.
All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. It's springtime here in the South, which means everything's covered in pollen. And there's thunderstorms every night. So, welcome to America.
How do the girls handle thunderstorms?
They're fine. They sleep through everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's my wife who doesn't like thunderstorms.
Well, it's more rain for her to test in the lab.
It's true. That's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point. There's a practical problem there.
All right, man.
I love thunderstorms, man.
Always a joy. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks everybody who checked in. We had a bunch of kids in here today.
Yeah, tell your friends. Come on down.
Tony and Chris and Phil. I think I got everybody.
I might not be available next Wednesday, but I got to double check.
All right. Tell us when you're available, because the world needs their John Price. Tell them what's up.
So true.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks, man.
Have fun.
All right. End story.